I would go vomit. And then I would come back to my friends, and I attempted to talk every single friend of mine that was on the path to getting married out of being married. I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, you have no idea what you're about to get into. Yeah, the whole sex thing every day, yeah, that's not happening. Not only that, there's no music, roses, dinner's not ready. Like, this whole thing is totally jacked. We got lied to, man. I'm telling you, you don't know because you haven't been there. I'm telling you, I wish we had flip cams. I would have videoed it. I would have shown you. No flip cams back then. We wouldn't have MP3 players yet. It was like, Discman, skip. God dang it. It was cooler than a tape, right? Okay, sorry, I totally digressed on that one. So in that same space then, I was a total victim, and in a victimhood state, I would drag other people down. Like it was my sole purpose in life to destroy other people's marriages, so that what? So my friends knew if they were struggling in their marital relationship, who did they call? Me. And where was my bias going to take them? Dude, just divorce her, man. I'm telling you, it's way cooler being single again. It's way cooler. You just need to be single again, man. Dude, are you sure? I mean, I'd be at the day of weddings, 20 minutes before people were getting married. I'm sitting like dyad with my buddy. I'm like, brother, with all the intensity of my life, I am witnessing to you that what you're about to do is a train wreck. Now, what I was in was a pattern. The pattern was victimhood. And with victims, what they look for is they look for people to join their tribe, their toxic tribe. They want followers in their tribe because victims play together really, really well. Victims die when they're left alone. Like, more realistic than not. No pun intended. When victims don't have an outlet, they'll kill themselves. So they seek for camaraderie. Now, how might this be a dilemma in trying to build an organization with all these varied opinions, varied emotions, varied backgrounds, past, history, religious beliefs, economic backgrounds, business experience, sales experience? How might this show up, do you think, in your organization?
Lack of productivity.
Lack of productivity. And what happens when it hits one person? Spreads. And if it spreads too far and too fast, what happens to your team? Kills it. How many of you have experienced something like this with a team building before? Yeah. Is it frustrating? Yeah, totally frustrating. So, the only way to get clear of this then is to understand what the opposite is. Here's the beauty. You know what the beauty is of experiencing victimhood? Is the fact that you can understand the opposite. Because consider for a second that everything is like a stick. Like I pick up this ruler, and on one end of the stick is being a victim. On the other end of that same stick is being a hero or accountable. Like it's the same stick though. So like if I want to grow and say I need to go to the next step, and my next step is right here, when I move to the next step, there will be a new level of victimhood available to me, and there will be a new level of accountability available to me. And when I pick that stick up, I oftentimes, most people's experience is they must first experience what? Victimhood in order to comprehend and understand what's on the other end of the stick, which is hero and accountable for their lives. And then once they get the accountability game, they come back to mid-center and they love and cherish both ends of the stick, and then they get to experience what? Next step. And they move to the next step and they pick the stick up and they go to a new level of arrogance and pride and victimhood and no accountability, etc. They're totally accountable to everything that's come behind them, but now in this space, it's totally new. So this new level of deception and darkness for them is arrogance in a totally different way.
So how do you skip over that?
Yeah, well, if you gain the point of reference of what the pattern is and going to that place for you, you have the option of energetically experiencing it without having to physically manifest the experience. Meaning you get a download. Now, my experience of what we read in New Testament scripture of what Jesus Christ went through in the garden was a very different experience for me in how I see it. Meaning the belief is that he took upon himself these experiences of this side of the ruler. Like all the way up. But there was a downloaded experience. It was like one time, wham, here you go. This is why coming and having mentors who have been to the pain can more quickly help you. So instead of coming here and say that the furthest extent of the ruler this way is 5 steps. Instead of taking all 5 steps, I'm really quick this time, so I only take 4. And then I learn, and I'm like, okay, wait, this is the same. Okay, cool, now I get this side. Now I'm going to come back to dead center. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to move. It's the itch to get out of the space you're in. You want to move forward, feeling this. I got to do something different. We got to get moving. I got to create something new. I got to change something in my relationship. So I move one step forward, and the default drag of your ego, your natural self, is to pull you to the illusion. So you start to take a step, but the more aware you are of your patterns, the more aware you are of this victimhood state, when you step into it, it's like touching a hot stove. You remember. You're like, oh, whoa, wait a second. Okay, cool. That's a total sign for me. I got to go this way. Yeah. Back to dead center. Take a step. And then you're like, okay.
So why do you move back to dead center?
Dead center is the straight path. It's Dharma. Ultimately, it's a surrender of pleasure and pain. It's getting rid of both and realizing that both of them are merely emotions. And the power comes when people are not moved by either, but are in perfect harmony with both. They see the duality and the opposites as one game. Now you're ready for the next step. It's being unconditionally loving. It's showing up and having your spouse show up however they show up, and you stay where? And it's not, oh, you're causing me pleasure. We're having sex. That means things are good. We're having intimate relations. Now I can be happy. Or the other end. We're not, and so now I'm painful, and so I don't love you. I love you this extreme. I don't love you. You need to understand both contrasts. You come back dead center. You're in power because now you see the whole picture. This is why your teenagers, can they lie to you?
Yeah.
Sure, but do you believe them? No, I went back and asked my parents. I was like, man, I look at myself, I was a pretty good liar. My folks were like, we always knew when you were lying. But they gave me the opportunity to what? To experience. Because the minute you try to take people's pain away, the minute you don't want to make people uncomfortable, what do you do with their experience when they try to pick up the stick? They go this way and they're like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. And then you tell them to do crazy things like, seriously, you can totally drop the weight. Just take this pill. It's awesome. You will be skinny so fast. You just take this pill. You just take this shot and you don't eat at all. You don't eat at all and you just take this shot and you will get skinny. It's awesome. Ultimately, you tell people that they can progress in life without having to what? Work. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to divide up the room into pods. You're going to talk about this game of victimhood. And you're going to talk about what that game looks like and how it's shown up in your life and in your business here in building this organization. So we're going to form circles. So we'll take these 5 right here. And you guys are going to form a circle right here. These 5 right here. You 5 are going to form a circle right here. You 4, 2, 5 right here.